Hey friends, April here. Today's story on the short is Call of the Child, about an ailing grandpa who tries to give his granddaughter the desires of her heart despite his limitations. Blessings and enjoy. Today's feature on the short, Call of the Child. Knowing he had little time left, William put on a good face for his children and grandchildren, who believed him to possess months or even years yet of life. He found it as manageable to close his eyes and smile when the pain seized him, as to succumb to the grimace that sought to disturb his peaceful countenance. This pain belonged to him, and him alone. He would not share it. "Wow, Grandpa!" Molly squealed, leaning back into William with the gusto of a 7-year-old, forcing a cough and opening of his eyes. "It's really snowing out there." They sat together in the window seat, William stretched out as if he were a younger man, holding his granddaughter as he had once held her mother a lifetime ago. "Oh, yeah?" William maintained his curled lips and swept back the tan curtain through which Molly had been peeking. Flakes large and fluffy poured from an opaque sky, falling yet in no hurry to reach earth. "This winter's really putting on a show." The girl's mother, washing up the breakfast dishes, called to them across the open kitchen. "They say it's supposed to keep up like this through tonight. We may get 2 or 3 more feet before it's all said and done." Molly leaned forward and turned awkwardly in her grandfather's lap, and despite a rigorous pummeling of knees and elbows, blessed him with her gray-eyed gaze. "I bet the snow's up to here on me," she said, laying a hand to her torso as if saluting on her stomach. "It may well be," he said, offering laughter which became coughs before quieting, and then he stole a squeeze the child didn't mind giving. He marveled at the strength in those tiny little arms, and as long as they gripped him, he gripped back with no less vigor. Molly gasped suddenly, breaking their embrace to meet William once more eye to eye. An idea of some magnitude illuminated her face and made her tongue dance around in her mouth briefly before settling for its purpose. "Sledding! We can go sledding!" Before William could respond, the child's mother called over her post at the sink. "Oh, sweetheart, maybe when your father gets home, okay?" Her voice carried a familiar lilt, a somber drawing out of syllables that, despite the hope and possibility in the words, Molly recognized from countless missed adventures and received it with a visible slump. William watched the illumination fade from that little face and held her as she settled quietly back into his arms. He stroked her hair, smoothing curls that sprang back to life beyond his grasp and coaxing the scent of strawberries from the wayward strands. Her body, once heaving from the leaping heart within her, surrendered to calmer breaths and soon returned to a slow, rhythmic rise and fall. As Molly's mother finished the dishes and disappeared into the adjacent laundry room, the child sighed and turned from the window, no longer wishing to watch the snow. For years, William had considered his legacy forged in so many boardrooms and acquisitions, in personnel, product, and profit. Yet here it rested, small and sullen against his chest. Molly lay limp now, drained of her squirmy exuberance, and with no worsening of William's pain, the grimace that sought to pillage his cheerful countenance gained ground. Decades had passed since his last wild romp in the New England cold, and aside from chilling winds that somehow brought life to one's cheeks, he remembered little of it. William reasoned that if God saw fit to give him another day, his knees would probably hurt. Tomorrow, unless a miracle occurred in the night, he'd still have cancer gnawing at his insides, setting off molten eruptions throughout his core. Tremors would govern his hands just as aches ruled his bones and coughs shredded his lungs. Tomorrow, he would be no worse off whether he sat on a cushioned window seat all day or not. Lowering his head to Molly's, he whispered, "Why cast thine eyes upon good fruit if one cannot taste of it?" "Huh, Grandpa?" He kissed the girl's ear, tapping her leg. "Come on, kiddo. Up we go." She swung her legs over his, tilting her head at him. "What? Why?" William flashed his eyes at Molly and brushed aside the tan curtain once more, leading her gaze back to the snowy playground beyond the window. "Let's do this." Really? She squealed, and he shushed her as if one could contain dynamite ready to blow. With veiled motions and secret glances, he scooted her to the closet, where a snowsuit and boots waited to ride with the child down a snowy hill. A fit of coughing overtook William as he hastened to his room, seeking to layer himself for the mission. "You all right, Dad? You need anything?" his daughter called from the laundry room. "No, honey, I'm fine." William grinned, holding hand against chest to restrain his own leaping heart. "Just answering the call." Thank you for listening to the short, and I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. Please know that God loves you, and when you're ready to talk, He's ready to listen. God bless you.